You know, I don't know. Boxing is a lot of wear and tear on the body. Maybe so. I'm not really sure.
Take out cash on all my houses and just bet everything on AJ. But I don't, being that we live in a world where I don't trust anything, I wouldn't be able to do that because there's no shot if this is a real deal thing that AJ doesn't do anything but knock out Jake Paul.
Nothing less than AJ to flatten him. If AJ doesn't flatten him, then he underachieved in the...
Floyd Mayweather shared his thoughts on the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight, explaining that boxing often comes down to wear and tear on a fighter's body. He noted that Anthony Joshua's size, strength, and natural power give him a clear physical advantage in this matchup. However, Mayweather also emphasized that once the fight starts, anything can happen. According to him, boxing is full of unexpected moments, which is exactly what makes this matchup intriguing and unpredictable for fans.
Not any real interest.
I'm pretty sure I'll watch it if they did it again.
Suggestion Ali, an MMA fighter, compared Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua to the famous Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor bout. He explained that while Conor was bigger than Floyd, the size difference was nowhere near as extreme as the gap between Jake and AJ. Ali pointed out that Floyd had decades of experience, elite defensive skills, and an unmatched ring IQ, which allowed him to control a larger opponent. Jake, on the other hand, does not possess that level of skill or background. Because of the massive size disadvantage combined with Anthony Joshua's proven power, Ali believes there is no realistic path for Jake Paul to defeat Joshua in this
decision and loses a decision to AJ. I think that's a win. That's a massive win.
Yeah.
If he goes out there, goes 8 3-minute rounds with Anthony Joshua, that is a win.
What is Anthony Joshua? Is he a boxer or is he a MMA or who is he?
He's one of the. He's like a professional world champion boxer.
He has fought the best of the best boxers
He's fought
in
Tyson
heavyweight.
Fury. He's fought Usyk. He's a legitimate professional boxer. He's not an influencer.
Yeah, his is legit, bro.
He is a dude. Did you see him knock out Francis Ngannou?
Oh, he knocked out Francis Ngannou?
Bad in the second round.
Oh, okay, I remember. That's when Francis went to boxing.
Francis went to boxing, fought Tyson Fury, like arguably the greatest heavyweight of all time. And some people think
that's the big white dude, right?
Beat Tyson Fury. A lot of people think Francis beat him. So Francis fights Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua knocks him out cold in 2 rounds. Did you see that knockout? Do you remember it? Fresh off your head.
No, I don't.
Let me show you. Francis.
It's insane.
That's crazy. So, and this guy, and Anthony, what's his name? Anthony Joshua?
Yeah.
He's not even like out of his prime, right? He's still primed out.
He's still there.
This isn't like that long ago.
Damn. Watch, what if Jake knocks him out?
Dude, it's gonna, I don't, it's fucking insane.
How big's Jake? What's Jake weigh?
Jake's probably
240?
6'1", 220, 215.
Be like Conor knocking out Floyd. I feel like you don't think
dude, Conor
bigger?
was that much bigger than Floyd.
True.
Like he was bigger,
That's a good point.
but not.
So you think that this is significantly more impressive?
This is nuts. Watch that.
Would you say that this is more impressive if he's able to beat someone like that?
If Jake beats Anthony Joshua, is it more impressive than Conor beat? I don't know. That's tricky. I don't know.
Shane Mosley offered a calm and balanced view on Jake Paul's place in boxing, stressing that even a knockout loss would not signal the end of his journey. He sees Jake as someone who enjoys testing himself, evolving, and pushing limits within the sport. Mosley explained that a single defeat, no matter how dramatic it may appear, does not erase the work Jake has put in or the opportunities still ahead of him. He added that fighters often grow the most from setbacks, and with Jake's youth, determination, and ambition, a loss could become part of his development rather than a final chapter. In Mosley's view, the experiment continues because Jake approaches boxing as a long-term pursuit, not a short-term stunt.
Get smoked, let's say like Francis Ngannou did against Joshua. Is this the end of the Jake Paul experiment?
I would say not. No. I just think that he just dared to be great and tried to, jump up and fight somebody, that he thought maybe he can exploit something. I don't know.
Can't fault him for that, right?
Vidal Riley delivered a firm assessment, saying that if Anthony Joshua fails to completely dominate Jake Paul, then he has fallen short of expectations. He emphasized that the standards for Joshua are extremely high due to his resume, physical advantages, and years of championship-level experience. According to Riley, Joshua needs to clearly show the gap between an established heavyweight and a cruiserweight newcomer who transitioned from a different career. His comments carry a sense of pressure, suggesting that Joshua has a responsibility to prove the difference in class. Riley believes that if an elite heavyweight allows an inexperienced opponent like Jake to last too long, it would raise serious questions about Joshua's sharpness and dominance. In simple terms, he expects the fight to look like a clear mismatch, and anything less would mean Joshua did not deliver what was expected.
Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua. What's your thoughts? You know both men. You probably know AJ a bit more, but what's your thoughts on the fight?
I mean, I expect nothing less than AJ to flatten him. If AJ doesn't flatten him, then he underachieved in the fight. It's as simple as that. Like, he's supposed to smoke Jake Paul as the former two-time heavyweight champion of the world. If he doesn't do that, then it's subpar.
Gareth A. Davies shared a more concerned and cautionary perspective, saying he sincerely hopes fans do not see Jake Paul seriously hurt on fight night. While he respects Jake's courage for taking on the challenge, Davies stressed that Anthony Joshua's power is not something to be underestimated or treated lightly. He expressed worry that Jake may not fully grasp the level of danger involved in facing a heavyweight with Joshua's size and punching strength. According to Davies, Jake could be shocked by the difference in force, speed, and explosiveness once punches start landing. His remarks reflect genuine concern for Jake's safety, repeatedly emphasizing that AJ's power is unlike anything Jake has experienced before. Davies added that even if Jake's team feels confident and well-prepared, preparation cannot change the raw physical realities of this matchup.
We know this game, Gareth. I respect Jake tremendously for taking it. You kind of have to, right? But, I mean, I know there's a lot of money in there as well, but still the opportunity and the thought of getting chinned and hit flush on the chin by AJ isn't particularly nice. We know his sparring looks good. Lawrence Okoli, Jared Anderson, Frank Sanchez, etc. But there's no way in hell, is there?
What, that we see an upset?
Yeah.
No, I mean, you can't. If you work in this industry and you know the fight sports world, you can't go with the Jake Paul victory. The only thing you can perceive really is AJ tripping over and breaking an ankle and not being able to stand up after it looks like Jake Paul's clipped him with a left hook, where he's playing possum on the ropes or he's thrown an overhand right that doesn't touch him or whatever. And it's mired in controversy forever. As I said and as I spoke with Nikisa Bidarian and Jake Paul at the press conference in Miami a couple of weeks back, if Jake Paul does do it, it'll be the biggest history.
Anderson Silva approached the discussion from a different emotional angle, praising Jake Paul for the discipline he has shown and insisting that he deserves more respect than he often receives. He described Jake as a real fighter, pointing to the time he dedicates to training and the seriousness with which he approaches every bout. Silva argued that Jake's willingness to face tough opponents reflects authenticity rather than gimmicks. In his view, Jake's improvement over the years is no accident but the result of consistent hard work. While Silva does not ignore the danger of facing someone like Anthony Joshua, he believes Jake's effort and commitment should not be dismissed simply because he entered the sport through a different path.
And the problem is, a lot of people know, but lazy people and the people don't have a courage to doing the same job that Jake do it, start saying bullshit about Jake. But the difference between these people and Jake is Jake have a ball and go inside the ring and prove how he's there and keep working hard every day to make something and help a lot of fighters to prove your point and respect the sport. And the people don't give the credit for Jake, and the people need to do that. And I respect Jake.
Wade from the Wade Concept examined the situation with a critical eye, saying that Jake Paul may have unintentionally exposed weaknesses through sparring footage that surfaced online. He suggested that Jake is getting hit far more often than he should, and those defensive flaws would become far more dangerous against Anthony Joshua, whose power is on a completely different level. Wade argued that if Jake is having trouble protecting himself in controlled gym sessions, the risks increase significantly in a real fight against a world-class heavyweight. He added that Joshua is likely to hurt Jake in ways sparring partners never could, portraying the matchup as a fighter stepping into a storm he may not be prepared for, especially given Jake's limited experience against elite, powerful opponents.
Or got jabbed big time with a one big shot, or, and this may be even more of a bad thing for Jake Paul, he's gotten hit with a hard left hook, one that he didn't see because it was right on his eye. And it looks like it landed pretty flush, as you can kind of see here. Question is, which one of those two things is happening? And question is, how is it going down? Because what we know about Anthony Joshua is that he has a nasty lead hook, and he's going to have a reach advantage on Jake, just like Lawrence Okoli does in the gym, which is why Jake has brought him in. So that jab's going to be effective. That lead hand of AJ is going to be effective. How does Jake maneuver around that? And again, you can look at this a couple of ways. One, okay, you get hit with it in camp, so you don't get hit with it in the fight, which is why you bring these heavyweights in. It's why you bring Jared Anderson, Lawrence Okoli, Frank Sanchez in. Or two, there's a massive flaw in what Jake's doing, that he's continually getting hit with this, and the indication that he's getting hit by Okoli means he's going to get hit the same way with Anthony Joshua. I tend to believe a little bit of both, right? You do this so that it doesn't happen, but also how much can Jake really learn and to avoid something that's coming out with the jab or with the lead hook, or just again the distance control and the range of a guy like Okoli and a guy like AJ that Jake just can't make up for physically. He's not the size of those guys. He's not 6'6". He doesn't have a 80+ inch reach, right? It's just not who he is. It's not physically possible for him. So can you work on things to not get hit with that jab? Sure, but how much will it convert in the short amount of time he has to get ready for AJ, and the transition from Gervonta Davis to AJ, and the fact that Jake is just not as good as a world championship level boxer, which is kind of what you need to beat AJ, or you need to catch him while AJ lets his guard down to try to attack. It's one of those two things. This is the worst I've seen Jake look after sparring or at any time during his camps, and maybe there's been times where he's not on camera, but you can tell the levels are higher in the...
Paulie Malignaggi offered a blend of confidence and caution when discussing the matchup. He stated that Anthony Joshua should knock Jake Paul out, believing the gap in technique, experience, and physicality is simply too large for Jake to overcome. In his view, the fight should not be competitive, and Joshua should be able to finish it quickly. However, Paulie also reminded fans that boxing is inherently unpredictable. He explained that strange and unexpected moments happen all the time, and no outcome is ever guaranteed. According to him, factors like timing, pressure, mistakes, or even a single lucky moment can instantly change a fight. While he expects Joshua to win with ease, Paulie noted that boxing history is filled with surprises where the anticipated result never materialized, highlighting the sport's chaotic nature.
You know, will the fight actually go through? You know, because yeah, you can't see anything but a knockout. I was looking at the odds. I've actually already put in my AJ bets, and I've already on parlays, and I actually have two parlays that I've already cleaned up on that are ending with AJ wins. One of them is AJ by knockout, and one of them is AJ on money line. But he's closing out a couple of parlays for me. I'll probably add a couple more on the way there. But we'll see if the fight happens. We'll see. You know, I would like to probably bet, like, take out cash on all my houses and just bet everything on AJ. But I don't, being that we live in a world where I don't trust anything, I wouldn't be able to do that, because there's no shot, if this is a real deal thing, that AJ doesn't do anything but knock out Jake Paul. But because I don't trust anything, and we live in a weird world where things get weird. Like, you see by the way, speak of the real world, did you see the Browns on Sunday? The guy punted from the 29-yard line and kept the game under. Did you see that? It's going viral.
No,
Have you ever seen anybody?
I've been seeing a lot of like NBA players and MLB players getting rolled.
Well, the NBA players actually got arrested and all that other shit. That actually came out.
And the MLB. I didn't see the Browns. I mean, the Browns suck. So the Browns
over-under was 36.5. The score was 24-10. They're on the opposing 29. They can just kick a field goal. They punted. The only time you will never in your life see they were on the opposing 29. If they're in field goal range.
Yeah,
they punted. They punted and kept the game under.
I've never heard you talk about recent football before. So
this is one of the reasons why I don't watch football. You know, but I watch old school football. Once they change the game between the
TalkSport hosts shifted the discussion toward the business side of boxing, focusing on Jake Paul's impact on the industry. They argued that Jake is currently one of the biggest names in the sport because he generates more money, attention, and viewership than most traditional fighters. According to them, his involvement instantly elevates any event, attracting a massive audience that many established boxers struggle to match. They explained that Jake's popularity affects everything from ticket sales to pay-per-view numbers, making him extremely valuable to promoters and networks. The hosts also noted that even in defeat, Jake still brings significant financial value to everyone involved. In their view, regardless of the result inside the ring, Jake Paul remains a powerful economic force in boxing.
When I went over to the press conference a couple of weeks ago, I was out there for Bare Knuckle, which we're going to speak about later, but I was out there at BKB 48 in Miami, and I happened to be there. Nikisa Bidarian took me up, Jake Paul's manager, took me up on the fact that I said the same things that I said in a second column, that we have to be very careful sanctioning these kind of bouts, because we don't know what's going to happen. You just said Jake Paul's got more opportunity of beating Anthony Joshua than Ronda Rousey would ever have against Katie Taylor, and I agree with that. But
and I don't think he's got a chance.
It's a very dangerous fight for him, in my view.
For Jake Paul?
Dangerous.
Massively dangerous.
In spite of the fact that people tell themselves, but Anthony's had a suspect chin at times. Does he really believe in himself? When I went over there, Joshua was taking to that event like with a relish.
I'll tell you what this fight is. This is basically, everybody's done this when you've been in the schoolyard, right? And you had a chat with your mates, and they say to you, what would you do for 10 million quid? What would you do for 50 million quid? For 100 million quid, would you get in with the heavyweight champion of the world and then whack you in the face? That's basically what this is for Jake.
Yeah. I spoke to David Hay about this. I've got an interview going out with him. I think he's working on the broadcast team out there. There's an interview going out with him in the newspaper in a couple of days' time. And he said, without even thinking about it, and I think Joshua's earning 25 million. And at the time, when I spoke to David, I think there was talk of 140 million for this fight. So Joshua was getting 70 million. My understanding, it's 25 million. Even then, he said, David Hay said, you wouldn't even think about it in his position.
Let's do it.
You would say yes without even giving it any consideration whatsoever.
Yeah.
You've got to.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you were asked to tile one tile on a roof, to put one tile on a roof, and you're getting 100 grand for it, you're not going to say no, are you?
No.
Even if you don't know how to tile the roof, you're going to know how to tile the roof by the time you get up there. When I saw Anthony Joshua over there, a part of me was genuinely
Steve Bunce took a far more explosive tone when addressing the topic, criticizing those who blindly defend Jake Paul while also pushing back against claims that Anthony Joshua is somehow in danger. He called out what he sees as unrealistic narratives and made it clear he had no intention of softening his words. Bunce said that praising Jake's courage is fair, but suggesting the fight is competitive is simply absurd. He insisted that anyone portraying Joshua as vulnerable is ignoring reality altogether. According to Bunce, Jake's decision to face Joshua is reckless, going as far as labeling him a lunatic for stepping into the ring with a heavyweight knockout artist.
Stuff like that. My only real criticism, I quite like it. It does good numbers. I think if AJ's going to fight in an 8-rounder, you can't turn down the money, etc.
Absolutely.
I don't really think it should be sanctioned, but that's on the board of who makes that decision. But do you not ever sit there and kind of scratch your head and feel a bit? I mean, don't get me wrong. There's been so much to celebrate over the last couple of years as well. But does it not? Boxing frustrates me at the best of times.
Oh, absolutely. That frustrates me. Lots of things frustrate me. I mean, the fact that, someone like Echo Esserman got overlooked for 2 or 3 years. Michael McKinson's being overlooked was just sticking with one weight and one country. The fact that fighters don't get the breaks they deserve across the board. That upsets me. My counter to that would be, yeah, absolutely. I'd rather AJ. Of course, I would rather AJ wasn't fighting Jake Paul. I'd rather he was fighting Frank Sanchez 5 or 6 months ago. Of course, I would rather that. By the way, do a better job on Sanchez than he might do on Jake Paul, because Sanchez would be really easy to hit. Of course I do, but I wouldn't have that as my... I'm not even sure that would creep into my top 100 things I've experienced that have annoyed me and frustrated me and made me... Yeah, I honestly, Charlie, yeah. I mean, I think about the
love it,
dozens...
the way you always have.
Yeah, I think about the dozens of fighters that haven't had a break. Mark Taylor died recently. Just a former British middleweight champion, died recently. He had to sue his management team when he'd finished boxing, and he got a settlement about 10 years later. That's all documented. You won't get legaled for that. 9 of his first 10 fights, he basically, as a complete novice, was selling out the Royal Albert Hall or Wembley. He was overmatched massively. We only ever won one British title fight. He was in a great eliminator once with Errol Christie that nearly...
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.
That wraps up today's video. Stay tuned for more.